I'm Badara Ndiaye, and so how I went to the US is at the age of 17, the NBA started a basketball camp for the first time in South Africa, where they went around the world in 100 different countries, and in those 100 different countries, they picked the 5 best players. So in Senegal, I was one of the 5 players that was picked to go to South Africa. And we were 500 players from around the world, from China, South America, from everywhere. It was a very cool experience for a little Senegalese kid like me because I used to play basketball barefoot until I was discovered. Yeah, and so once that happened, that was the beginning of my life-changing situation that never stopped. And so I moved later on. I moved to the US and played basketball for 4 years, 4.5 years. Unfortunately, I had a knee surgery, or fortunately, because I couldn't play basketball anymore. And also just being social, because I wasn't actually before, because I could not speak English when I first moved to the US. I could not. And so I got to learn English and just adjust to the new social environment that was completely different from the Senegalese one. So if you don't know anything about Senegal, look up Senegal and see how much taboos we have. It's changing now, but in 2005 it was different. So I went to the US, I went to school, I learned the language, and I played basketball. I did my studies in sociology, anthropology, and psychology. And to add to that, I also have an international license for life coaching, which I don't really use. So that happened, then I started working for Adidas, and then I worked for the Standard Hotel.
How are you doing for Adidas?
I was doing PR and marketing, yes. And I was just a part of the brainstorming room. And because I never studied any marketing, so it was something very interesting and a new world also to get into. And then after working with Adidas, I started working for All Saints. All Saints is the clothing company from the UK, and when they were moving to the US, so I helped them find locations with the team, with Daniel, who was running the team to find locations. And then I worked with the Standard Hotel also as a membership coordinator, where I was creating events for the company and for the members, because the Standard has a private membership like the Soho House, which was our competition actually in Miami. And from there I met a friend of mine who works in fashion, and this friend decided to get me into fashion. He said I had to be in fashion because I could be in fashion. I don't know what he was talking about, but I did.
You're very elegant.
Thank you. And so I said, okay. So we started. He helped me with styling, try to understand how I should be dressing, even though I thought I had a style, but now I look back at photos, I'm like, no. Anyway, so this happened, and then the first fashion week I ever attended to in Milan, we were covering Anna Della Russo, and the first time he told me about Anna Della Russo, I'm like, who's that? He's like, you don't know Anna Della Russo? Are you serious? I say, no, who is she? So little by little I know who she was, and being around her I understood a little bit of the world of fashion. I learned a lot, and she
So
gave...
how did it come that you worked for her immediately?
It's because my friend who started the fashion magazine was working directly with her, and then we were working for Tatler, Russia, and we were also working for Vogue Thailand and GQ Thailand, and
I didn't know there was a Vogue Thailand.
come again?
I didn't know there was a Vogue Thailand.
Yeah, there is. So we were like collaborating with them and contributing to them. And because this friend, who I don't want to say the name, was directly working with Anna, and we were a team, so we were working directly with Anna because of that. And at the same time, this is the time when Anna was doing lots of projects with Tory Burch and Dolce & Gabbana, like a lot. So this was also my introduction to Dolce & Gabbana. And then so we started doing lots of projects with Anna until one day I was asked to be photographed, and I was like, and I had no idea what was happening. But then my friend said, go. So I went, and then I was photographed, and next thing you know, it ended up all the GQs, the L South Africa and all that. So this really helped to kind of have, and for me I couldn't believe it because I was like, seriously, my first fashion season ever and this is happening. And then I started getting interviews right and left and right and left. So this is how it happened. Then I went back to Miami because I was living in Miami. I bought a professional camera and I started creating photos just for my social media, just to really hop on that trend that already started in Milan. And what it was that you'll laugh about this, I bought a professional camera and my housekeeper was taking my first photos ever, and she was really good. So this was also my early days of directing because I would tell her how to take the photos, etc. And so we had a routine. She will come twice a week at that show. She comes, of course, that spend a lot of money buying the clothes and finding the clothes for me. I'm 6'11", so 2 meters and 11. Yes. So this happened, and but I managed to find clothes. Hugo Boss did, and also in the US, sometimes the brands they make up to certain sizes for the US because the US have taller people normally. So Hugo Boss for sure, and Bruno Mali makes the shoes. Maznani also. Some Dolce & Gabbanas because I lost weight actually. When I used to play basketball, I used to be 245 to 50 pounds, which is in kilogram, it's about 135 kilogram. Yeah, yes. So, but because of basketball, that was because of basketball. But then once I stopped playing basketball because of knee surgery, I was asked to do an editorial for a celebrity photographer, Aubrey Chandler from LA, but living in Miami also. She was doing an editorial for Armani, and she asked me to do it. But she told me I needed to lose 10 kilos. I say, no, 10 pounds, sorry, 10 pounds. And, yeah, so I say, sure, I can do it. Next thing you know, I ended up losing like 30, I ended up losing 35 or 37 pounds I lost. And I was running every day or every other day, 6 to 7 miles every day or every other day. And I changed my eating drastically to make sure I get there. And so it happened. And then from there I say, okay, I like this, so I'm gonna keep it like this. So for the past 10 years, 9 years, I have pretty much kept the same weight and just focus, and I eat whatever I want. I just have to regulate it. I just have to make sure it's balanced, but I eat whatever I want.
So you're still modeling?
Yes, I still do collaborate with some of the fashion brands, and the coat I was wearing is with a brand that I work with, it's called Oko Anonym. I work with them quite often actually. Just quite briefly, so that's what it is. So your hands don't get so tired holding the phone. You're welcome.
What's your handle on Instagram?
How much my handle? It's Badara Official.
How do you spell it?
Badara Official, OFFICIAL at Badara Official.